This over here on the left is Balzar, and the one on the right says Dad, and he walks over to him and he says,
Son, I'm off to war. You're in charge.
So then, Balzar's dad goes to war, but little did he know, the Persian army was advancing.
But when this was happening, Bowser was just eating food.
Also, Belzar didn't use any normal silverware. He got it from a temple. They went in there, and they had complete disregard for it. And then they took the silverware and left. God was upset about this, so he sent down a hand to write a message on the wall. But the message was like totally unreadable, and because of its divine nature, when Belzar viewed this message, he just collapsed and stuff, went blind.
I'm blind!
But then the Queen of Babylon remembered a man by the name of Daniel. He was really good at interpreting things in the time of Nekabapara, a great ruler.
Daniel! I'm blind! I need you to eat blood!
Alright, I'm coming over.
So Daniel came over, and this is how he transcribed the words.
Daniel, what does that mean?
He dishonored God.
Belzar was pleased that Daniel transcribed the words, so he came to give Daniel his reward.
Daniel!
Hey, Balzar.
I got you this robe and chains.
I'm also declaring you the third ruler of the kingdom.
No, I'm good.
Take it!
No,
Take it!
I don't want it.
Take it!
But Belzar wasn't able to act on God's words, because later that night, he went out and got killed. It doesn't say how. Actually, we do know how Belzar died. He was just there in his palace, chilling out. However, two Persians that were leading the army into Babylon came in and wanted to kill Belzar. Their names were
Gadalas and Gobrias.
They came up to Belzar, and they just went over to him and just stabbed him a bit, and stabbed and stuff. He was pretty dead at that point, so then they just left to go tell their Persian king. So basically, Belzar was just there, being dead, and Babylon had no ruler. So, yeah. So then the Persians, led by a Persian king named Cyrus, came into Babylon and took over. However, Cyrus, this guy, was not that bad. He came in and he said,
The Jews can come back and build their temple!
So basically, he allowed all the Jews to come back if they so wished. Also, he didn't take Babylon by force, as he doesn't like violence and stuff, which is good. In fact, he was such a good guy that God came down and said to him,
Cyrus, you're my anointed, I guess.
Most Jews stayed away from Jerusalem. However, few remnants wished to return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple after Belshazzar let it fall and be destroyed and stuff. The remnants who wished to return were very enthusiastic about rebuilding the temple and rebuilding Jerusalem itself. So the Jews started reconstruction on the temple. However, the Samaritans came into play, and the Jews did not like this. They avoided the Samaritans due to their troubles in the past. The Samaritans were very offended by this, like really offended. So, to get revenge, they went over to the new ruler and tricked him into believing that the Jews were actually rebuilding Jerusalem's defenses so they could rebel.
Sir, they're planning their defenses to rebel against you.
Who cares?
They also called you fat.
Let's go!
The new ruler was unaware that Cyrus actually permitted the Jews to rebuild their temple. So, the new ruler went to go check the
Calling
archives.
people fat, that's just rude. They do have a history of calling leaders fat. And they rebel, I guess. But calling people fat is rude! Let's go!
So now the Jews were disbanded from rebuilding their temple.
Told
Don't
you.
call me fat!
What?
Plus don't rebuild your
So
defenses.
now what was left was only a half-finished temple in the middle of Jerusalem. This in turn made the Jews really upset. They were like,
Why would someone do this if I kept...
but then a man by the name of Hagar came over and inspired the Jews to keep rebuilding the temple.
Rebuild for God! Okay. You!
When the Jews were asked why were they rebuilding, they answered this.
Why are you rebuilding again?
I came up to me a while ago and told me to keep going, so...
Okay.
So now we turn our attention to Ezra the scribe. He was a guy who wanted to bring peace to Jerusalem. He also made a charity and stuff, but he also solved conflicts, like so.
Be peaceful!
Oh, okay.
Alright.
I love Jews.
All wasn't well because people were sacrificing each other to God for his love and devotion, like so.
Love me, God!
But God didn't want sacrifices. All he simply wanted was this.
I don't want sacrifices. Just be nice to each other.
Oh. Okay. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry.
Well, the end. Now, we get to watch all of the cast charge into the distance.
Yeah!